La La Land could have starred Emma Watson and Miles Teller. But as fate would have it, things changed, and we got the unforgettable pairing of Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. That's just one example of how this iconic film could have turned out completely differently. Let's dive into the behind-the-scenes choices that shaped La La Land into the movie we know today. Let's start with when the idea for La La Land was born. In 2010, Damien Chazelle, a drummer with a passion for musical films, came up with the idea for La La Land. At the time, the film industry felt out of reach for him, but he was determined to create a musical that felt real. His vision was to take the classic musical style and give it a modern twist, where things don't always go as planned. It was meant to be a tribute to the creative people who moved to Los Angeles to chase their dreams. Chazelle first started exploring this concept during his time at Harvard with his classmate Justin Hurwitz. They worked on a small-budget musical for their senior thesis called Guy and Madeline on a Park Bench. It was about a jazz musician, which clearly showed Chazelle's early love for jazz and his storytelling. But getting La La Land made was a huge challenge. Studios weren't interested in backing an original modern-day musical, especially one that was centered around jazz, that's seen as an outdated genre. Plus, with Chazelle and Hurwitz not being well-known names, it was even harder to convince anyone to fund the project. This roadblock led to years of La La Land being put on hold. Chazelle's luck changed when he wrote Whiplash, a film that was much easier to pitch. It didn't feel as risky to studios, and after its success at the Sundance Film Festival in 2014, Chazelle's name gained attention. Whiplash went on to earn 5 Oscar nominations and made a big profit, which made studios much more interested in what he wanted to do next. And suddenly La La Land didn't seem such a risky idea anymore. 5 years after writing the original script, Chazelle found the backing he needed. Summit Entertainment and Black Label Media, impressed by Whiplash, agreed to invest in La La Land. Producer Mark Platt also joined, and with Lionsgate on board, the film's budget was increased. Patrick Washburger from Lionsgate, who had worked on the Step Up franchise, believed that musicals required a bigger budget to be done right. Still, it's interesting to think about how La La Land could have changed. Early on, one studio wanted the male lead to be a rock musician instead of a jazz pianist, and even suggested changing the bittersweet ending. But Chazelle held firm to his vision. If he had agreed to those changes, the film we know today might not exist at all. Could you imagine La La Land with a completely different cast? Let's take a look at who was originally set to star and how the lead roles ended up changing. Miles Teller and Emma Watson were set to play the lead roles in La La Land, but things took a different turn when Watson chose to honor her commitment to Disney's 2017 Beauty and the Beast remake, while Teller exited due to extended contract negotiations. Teller, with his more grounded and intense energy, may have given Sebastian a more serious edge, while Watson's portrayal of Mia might have leaned towards a more subtle, thoughtful performance. The chemistry between the leads would have also altered the emotional dynamics of the film, but an interesting twist, Ryan Gosling had actually turned down the role of the Beast in that same Disney remake in favor of playing Sebastian in La La Land. And after these changes, Damien Chazelle decided to shift the story's focus slightly. Instead of telling the tale of young newcomers to Los Angeles, he chose to make his characters older, portraying them as people who had been struggling to make their dreams come true for a while. Emma Stone, who plays Mia, had her own personal connection to the role. She moved to Hollywood at age 15 and had a tough time getting auditions at first, often being turned away after just one line. Stone drew inspiration from her experiences, and some of her personal stories even made it into the film. Ryan Gosling, who plays Sebastian, also pulled from his own acting struggles. One moment that made it into the film was based on his experience. During an audition where he was supposed to cry, the casting director started talking on the phone about her lunch plans. Both Stone and Gosling took on the challenge of learning to sing and dance for the 6 original songs in the movie, their veteran status in Hollywood being clear with the exceptional skill displayed. Chazelle cast the duo immediately, after Summit picked up the project believing they had the chemistry and charm of classic Hollywood pairs like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, or Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. This was the 3rd time Gosling and Stone worked together, having previously starred in Crazy Stupid Love and Gangster Squad. Their real-life audition disasters also inspired parts of their characters' struggles in the film. But how did a simple decision about location completely transform one of the most memorable scenes in La La Land? The opening sequence of La La Land could have been completely different from what we see today. Originally, Damien Chazelle planned to film that big pre-credits number on a regular ground-level highway. If he had stuck with that plan, the scene would have felt much less dramatic. Instead of the stunning aerial view of Los Angeles, we'd have a far more ordinary-looking setting. But Chazelle decided to take it up a notch. Literally, 100 feet in the air, to the 105 to 110 interchange. That change made all the difference, giving the scene a larger-than-life feel and making the city itself almost a character in the film. It created a sense of scale and magic that wouldn't have been there otherwise. Chazelle also insisted on shooting the movie on 35mm film with a CinemaScope-style look. If he had gone the more modern digital route, La La Land could have lost that classic old Hollywood feel that makes it so special. His choice of film gave everything a warm, nostalgic glow, something that you don't get with digital cameras. So without these decisions, the movie's visuals and tone might have felt a lot less magical than what we ended up with. So what's the story behind the hidden gems of Los Angeles featured in La La Land? Well, some of these places have a history of their own that almost kept them from being used in the film. Chazelle wanted La La Land to capture the charm of old LA, so he scouted locations that were either in ruins or had already been torn down. One of the most interesting examples is the Angels Fly trolley, which was originally built in 1901. It had been closed since 2013 after a derailment, and despite attempts to fix it, the railway remained shut down. Yet for the film, Chazelle's team managed to get permission to use it for a day. They even got it running again just for shooting. It's a fun piece of trivia that the trolley was actually reopened to the public later in 2017, no doubt thanks to the success of the released film. Mia's job at the coffee shop also has a special significance. It's located on the Warner Bros. Studio lot, which Chazelle saw as kind of a monument to Hollywood itself. To play into that old Hollywood vibe, the production designer David Wasco created several fake vintage movie posters for the background. Chazelle even snuck in a personal touch, naming one of the posters after his first feature film, Guy and Madeline on a park bench, but reimagining it as if it were a 1930s musical. And without these locations and thoughtful details, La La Land might have missed out on that deep connection to Hollywood's past, which is a huge part of what gives the film its unique atmosphere. But did you know La La Land almost hit theaters in the middle of summer rather than in the heart of winter? But a change in the release strategy helped it become the awards season hit we know today. La La Land was originally scheduled to hit theaters on July 15, 2016, but by March of that year, plans changed. Chazelle felt that a summer release wasn't the right fit for the film's tone, so the release was pushed to December, but with a more gradual rollout. He wanted to start with early fall film festivals, allowing the movie to build buzz before a wider release. The limited release began on December 9, 2016 in just 5 locations, then expanded to about 200 theaters on December 16th. By Christmas Day, the film was playing nationwide, and in January 2017, it was released even more widely, including select IMAX theaters. Now, without this strategic shift, La La Land might not have gained the same momentum or received the same award season attention that it did eventually. One of the film's most powerful monuments is its bittersweet ending, where Mia and Sebastian don't end up together, even though they achieve all of their other dreams. If the filmmakers had gone with a typical Hollywood happy ending, where they both succeed in their careers and stay together, it would have completely changed the movie's message. It would feel more like a classic fairy tale, where love and success go hand in hand. Instead, we get something more realistic and meaningful, which makes the story much deeper and more relatable, even if that means some can't bear to watch it a second time. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the making of La La Land and want more behind-the-scenes stories from your favorite films, make sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.